guys, so finally I'm bringing you the video for the ornament that I have made. This is one of them that I made in the purple. See all sides of it. We do use a little bit of 20 gauge wire and a bead cap. The ones that I bought from Art Beads are actually too small for this. Unless you want to make the opening for this at the top smaller, which you can do. You just have to use 15 O's to start the peyote at the beginning instead of 11 O's like I have here. And we have 3mm and 4mm Firepolish, Superduos, Gemduos, 8O seed beads in 2 colors, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and this styrofoam ball. If you prefer to use something other than styrofoam, I don't blame you. I was actually, when I started to make these, I was looking for plastic ball ornaments because the first one that I made was glass and it rolled off of the table and shattered. So you can imagine me not being real happy about that. So then I had to take it off of what I had left of the shattered glass there and pick pieces of glass ornament out from between beads and stuff and then put it onto another ornament. So I tried finding plastic ornaments in a smaller size and I couldn't find any except for like little teeny tiny ones, and that just wasn't going to cut it. These ones I got at Walmart, very cheap in the craft department. You get a bag of 12 of these, and as you see, it's just for floral craft. It says floral craft foam balls, and they're 1.9 inch. I think that's the diameter of them. When you measure around, it's actually like about 6 inches around the circumference of these. I actually did forget to bring something else, so I will be right back. Okay, I am back. So materials that we're going to need: the styrofoam ball, of course, a piece of 20 gauge wire. You don't need a lot. It's going to go through the center of this, and you need enough to fold this back on itself so that it kind of anchors at the bottom of the ball, and enough to make a loop at the top so that you can hang it. I have a bead reamer to put the hole in the styrofoam ball. We have 3 and 4mm Firepolish beads. These are the ones that I had gotten from Art Beads. Let's see here. We have 8 O's in 2 different colors. So this is the transparent lustered black diamond, which kind of like a silver. These are cobalt blue. I have 11 O's in the Miyuki galvanized silver, Gemduos in cobalt, and Superduos I'm going to use, if I can get them out of here, these silverish gray ones. These are Luster Ashen Gray. Also got those from Art Beads if you saw my last video. We're going to need quite a few of those. Also, I have Wildfire This is the 0.008 inch. And you're going to use a lot of thread for this. So use what you feel comfortable starting with, and you are going to have to add more later. I have this threaded onto a size 10 tulip beading needle. You're also going to need pliers, regular, chain nose pliers to bend your wire at the end, round nose pliers to make the loop, and you're going to need a few of these pins. This is out of a sewing kit, but you're going to need these to hold the beadwork onto the styrofoam ball. And also, you're going to need a bead cap that's going to fit into this perfectly. This one is actually a little bit small, but it's the biggest one I have right now, so that's what I'm going to use. I have actually made these before using like a filigree flower or something that has a central hole. So if you have that, you can use that also. Let's see here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. First off, what you want to do is you have this ball, and you just find a point and just run your reamer through it, right through the middle. And I have used like wooden sticks and stuff to do this before too, but just bring that through so you can see the point, so you don't run all the way through. What happened when I used the stick is I couldn't see the hole to see what end or where exactly I was inserting this wire. So if you can see that, you can see where this wire is going to go in. So when you get your wire off and cut, try to straighten it out as much as you can. This isn't perfect, but it doesn't need to be. Most of it's hidden inside the ball anyways. So just feed that down through that. Now, because this side is more open, I'm going to take a bit at the end and fold it over. And then I'm going to take a bit here and fold it over again. So now what I'm going to do is just push that down in there. And you can see that that is anchored. So your wire isn't going to just fall off of your ball. Now through this, you want to put your bead cap. Bend the top of that. And as you can see, this is quite a bit longer than it actually needs to be. So use your wire cutters, and I'm going to cut a couple of inches off of that. And now use the round nose pliers go. Now you have your loop at the top to attach, you know, one of those ornament hangers or ornament hook or whatever you want. Maybe even a ribbon to hang it with. You can do that. All right. So now that we have that set, let's see here. I'm going to take one of these lids and I'm just going to place this in here over there so it's out of the way. All right. So now we're going to need the 11 O's. And your thread and needle. Now we're going to start this with circular peyote. So we're going to end up having 17 rows. So you want to start this with 34 of these 11 O's. Because essentially when you start peyote, you're doing the first 2 rows. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 14. 28. 34. Bring those down. Now you want to double count these or triple or whatever because you want to make sure you have the right amount. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34. All right, so we have 34. So now you're going to want to go through all of these beads again. I don't have a stop bead on here. You absolutely can put a stop bead on if you want to. I might end up kicking myself for not putting one on. We'll see. See, I almost lost them. Go through all of those beads. You are more than likely not going to be able to do that in one pass. So go through as many as you can at a time. You can go one at a time, but I imagine that would be a bit tedious. Okay, we're almost back to our tail thread. There we go. Made that through. Now, going to tie a knot here. You absolutely do not have to do that. You can just keep going through the thread and sew the tail in later, if that's how you prefer to do it. There we go. I'm going to snip that down a little bit. All right, so here we have 34 11/0s in a circle. I'm going to go through a couple more beads here. If you haven't done peyote before, you can just watch and see how this takes form and then rewind and go back. What you do is you pick up one bead now, and you're coming out of this bead right here. You want to skip the next bead and go through the one after that, and only that one. I'm going to pull. Now you see these two beads are sitting right next to each other. There you go. Okay, so you pick up another bead. You're coming out of this one. You skip the one after that, and then go through the next. There we go. Adding these beads in this row now is actually our third peyote row, believe it or not. So we're coming out of this one, skip the next, and go into the bead after that. There we go. One more. And do the same thing that we did previously. Now if you want to go ahead and do that all the way to the end, you pick up a bead, skip the next one, and go into the one after that, all the way around until you get to this last bead, and I will come back and help you there. Okay, so we're at the end. I'm about to add the last bead on this round. So I'm coming out of here. I'm going to go through the first bead that we started with. And now I'm going to step up through that first bead that we added. Okay, so you're stepped up. You can shape this, pull this more into a circle if you want. It will shape itself, so you don't need to worry too much about it. So there's that. That is the beginning of the beadwork for our ornament. That is essentially 3 rows of peyote. go. All right. So now we are move these 11 O's out of the way. Seems like I have some 15 O's mixed in there, so I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. And they do a good job of packing these tubes sometimes, don't they? Can't get the caps off. All right, so here are our blue beads. Okay, so coming out of this bead that we stepped up with, you're going to pick up an 8/0. And you don't have to use this accent colored one. If you just want to use one color 8/0s, again, this is your project. I'm just showing you the steps to do it. We just pop these 8/0s in between each of the 11/0s that we added on the last round. Let's go all the way around with this. Go ahead and go all the way around to the end. And remember to step up through the first 8/0 seed bead that we added. Through that last bead and step up through the first blue one. Look at that. It's pretty easy. You know, you just add a bead in between each one. And because of it being the circular peyote, it tends to widen out or fan out some more at the ends. So next we are going to add 2 more rows of the silver colored 8/0s. So let me fight to get these out. There we go. Okay. Alright, so coming out of this one, just pick up one of those 8/0s and you place one of these in between each one of the blue ones. So go ahead and do that all the way around, and remember to step up through this first 8-0 of this round. Okay, so I stepped up through that first bead. Now you do one more round. Okay, so the last bead, you go through that first 8-0 in the previous round and step up through the first 8-0 that we added in this round. And this is what you have. Kind of looks like a ship's wheel at this point, doesn't it? Alright, so now at this point, I want to put this on here. And being that this bead cap is not a perfect fit, you're going to see a little bit of white in there. But like I said, you can take care of that later, or if you want to make your smaller circles smaller, or your center circle smaller to begin with, you can start the peyote with 15-ohs. You do still want to keep it at 34 though, because we need 17 openings, or 17 I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here. There's 17 openings in between these beads, and we're going to need that for the number of beads that we're using to make this ornament. See, there's 17 of these 8-ohs going through here. There's 17 3mm. There's 17 4mm. There's 34 Superduos here, and 17 Gemduos, and so on and so forth, all the way through. So that's what you want. You want to start your peyote with 34 beads. Alright, so here's where these pins come in. Usually use 3 or 4. Hold your beadwork kind of central on that bead cap. Go between a couple of beads and run one of those pins through. And you don't really want to go towards the middle, because you'll end up hitting your wire. And I don't really know if that would do anything, but better safe than sorry, I think, right? There we go. Bring that one through. And then one on each side here. And these will not stay there. They're just to hold your beadwork in place now, because otherwise you're going to be fumbling trying to get it on there. So I just found that it was a lot easier to do it this way. So move these out of the way. Actually, the next beads we're going to need are these 3mm. So I'm going to cut these off the strand. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go into the netting now. And between each one of these 8-ohs, you're going to pick up 3 11-ohs and sew into the next 8-oh. Three more 11-ohs. Go through the next 8-oh. Do that all the way around until you come back to here. Okay, so I added the last 3 beads. We're gonna step up through that 8-oh and go through the first 2 11-ohs so that you're coming out of the middle one. Those are the 3 11-0s that you first added on this round. So now you're going to pick up an 11-0, a 3mm fire polish, and another 11-0. And you're going to go through the middle 11-0 on the next section there. And that's what you have. So again, an 11-0, 3mm, and an 11-0. Coming out of this point one, I'm going to go to the next middle 11-0. Eleven oh, 3mm, and 11-0. Go through the next middle 11-0. Now again, do this all the way around and we'll meet back. Okay, last group, an 11-0, a 3mm, and an 11-0. Go through this peak bead, go through, oh, that's not the peak. This is the peak here. Now go through that 11-0 and the fire polish. The next 11-0 and the one in the peak before that. Now come out. That 11-0 before the next fire polish. Now you see this waving a little bit right now. Don't worry about that. If you want to just kind of work it down so that it's not so wavy, as we work and we widen this out, this will flatten some for us and won't look so wonky. Okay, so now what we're going to do is some more netting. So coming off of this one here, we're going to pick up 5 11-0s. We're going to go over the fire polish, go through the next bead, 11-0 on the other side of that fire polish, go through the peak, and the next 11-0. Now pick up 5 more 11-0s and do the same here. Skip the fire polish, go through this next bead and the middle bead in the previous row, and the next 11-0 before the next fire polish. Okay, do that all the way around and I'll be right back to help you. Okay, so we put in that last set, came through the last bead and the central bead here. Now from there, we're going to travel up 4 of these seed beads. There we go. And now we're going to need these 4mm fire polish. So, oh, don't want them rolling all over the place on me. There's that. Alright. So now we're coming through the peak. I'm just going to pick up 1 4mm fire polish. And if you need to count these beads, go ahead. This very top one next to the fire polish, we're not going to count. So under that, it's 1, 2, the third one is the one you want to go through. Again. Three. More. 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. Oops. And that's why I'm not using glass, guys. 1, 2, 3. One, 2, 3. Sometimes it's easy for you, and the middle one is poking right out there. Sometimes it's not, though, and it's a little rounded like this guy here. So, 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. And just continue doing this all the way around until you get back to the first fire polish bead that you added. Okay, so last one. I'm going to go through this bead here, through the next fire polish, and the next bead on the end. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to do a 7 bead net. So you add 11 O's. Coming from this 11O, you cross over to the next one. Seven. Coming out of the seed bead. Go to your next 11O. Again. Through the next 11O. I bet you can guess what I'm going to say. Continue doing this all the way around, and then we'll continue. All right, last set of 7. Through this one here. Okay. Now we want the middle one. So we're going to go down 4 of these beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Alright, so this is what we have so far. I kind of like how that's sticking up a little bit there. It almost looks like a flower and 3-dimensional. You see that? If I turn it on the side there. Okay. So, now that we have all of this, we are going to add, we're going to need our blue seed beads. I'm going to get these Firepolish beads out of the way for now. I'm going to need 1 color of our 8/0 seed bead, and I'm using the alternate color, which is the blue, and then we're going to need Superduos. Pour these out. Okay, so now coming out of a peak bead there, I want you to pick up a Superduo, an 8/0, and a Superduo. And then you find the middle bead on the next seed bead section. It would be number 4, which would be right here. And sew through that. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to do this all the way around. So go ahead and do that, and we'll do the next step. Okay, so I did that all the way around. I'm coming through this middle seed bead here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go forward and go through that first section of Superduos that we added. The Superduo, the 8/0, and the Superduo. And then I'm going to go through the next seed bead and just the first Superduo after that. And now we need to go jump through the bottom hole of that Superduo. Okay, so now us right-handers are going to be working this way. Left-handers, you might be okay with that. I don't know. If you prefer to work that way, you can just turn this ball around, and because we're pinned to it, you can work this way. So now what we're going to do in these is we're going to add our Gemduos. I'll pick those up. And how these Gemduos are oriented, there is a flat, smooth side, and the other side is puffed up a little bit. So that's how you know whether you got it upright or not. So coming out of this hole, we're going to go through the top hole of this Gemduo. and go through the next Superduo. Okay, now using the silver 8/0s, go through the next Superduo. Pick up another Gemduo. Go through the next Superduo. Toho. Next Superduo. Gemduo. Next Superduo. And guess what? We're going to do this all the way around. So go ahead and do that, and we'll come back. All right, last 8/0 going between the two Superduos, and then I'm going to continue through the Gemduo. You get to the end. If you want to hold on to your work and just give it a little bit of a tug, just to make sure everything is in there nice and snug. This is what we have so far. Okay. Okay. So we came out of this last Gemduo. Now you go through the bottom hole of that. Pull that through. Now you're going to pick up a Superduo, gray bead, and a Superduo. Go through the next Gemduo. Now do the same. Superduo, silver 8/0, Superduo. Go through the next Gemduo. Superduo, 8/0, and the Superduo. And go through the next Gemduo. Alright, so do this all the way around, and when you get back to this Superduo or this Gemduo that you started with, I will help you get to the next step. Okay, so I have the last set of Superduos and the 8/0 on, so I'm going to go through this last hole of this Gemduo, and I'm going to go through the Superduo, 8/0, Superduo, the next Gemduo, give that a little bit of a tug, and then go through the first Superduo there, and then pop through the bottom hole of that Superduo. There we go. Okay, so now move these over some so we can get these ones. Underneath each one of the Gemduos, when you come through the Superduo, add an 8/0. And then when you get in between where the Gemduos were, add another Gemduo. Make sure we add it the right way. Okay. Gemduo there. Toho. And Gemduo. Toho. Gemduo. Toho. Gemduo. And you know how this goes. Do this all the way around and then we'll come back and do the next row. Okay, so last bead that we're going to add is another Gemduo. Pick that up. Go through the Superduo, the Toho, the next Superduo, and that Gemduo. Give that a little bit of a tug. Hold on to your beads as you do that too. Okay. So now you're going to go through the bottom hole of this Gemduo. And now it's going to be a Superduo, an Toho, and a Superduo. Go through that next Gemduo, Superduo, Toho, Superduo, through the next Gemduo, and go ahead and do that all the way around, and then we'll do the next row. Okay, so I have the last set of Superduos and the Toho seed bead to add. So I'm going to go through the last Gemduo, and go through that next Gemduo as well. And as you see, my thread is getting to the end of its life here. So I'm going to go back up this Gemduo and through a couple of these other beads. Up through that Gemduo, Superduo. Find a thread bridge. And do a half hitch knot. With these, your beadwork isn't going to get tugged on. You don't have a clasp on these or anything, so they're just going to sit on this ball and hang, well, wherever they want to put them, on a tree or even maybe in a window. So I wouldn't worry too much about tying a bunch of knots to make it secure. Where's it going to go? So I've got this so far. Now I'm going to add some more thread here. Go. And again, you're doing a lot of netting and stuff. through this, so you're gonna need quite a bit of thread. Or work how you're comfortable. If you're comfortable with shorter lengths and just adding in, ending and adding in constantly, then you do you. That's absolutely fine. So now what I'm going to do to add this thread in is I'm going to find another thread bridge. I think maybe a little further up so I know that it's more secure. I don't want to tie a knot onto a thread that's looser right now. Alright. I'm going to do another one. And of course get caught on my loop at the top. Okay. Alright, so I'm coming through here. So I'm going to go through this hole of the Gemduo. And I'm going to go through the bottom hole. And the Superduo Seed Bead Superduo. Swing down to the bottom hole of that Superduo. And swing through that Gemduo, Superduo set, and this next Gemduo. And then go through the bottom hole of this Gemduo. Go through the Superduo set and the next Gemduo. Try not to get caught on anything while you do this. Now I'm going to go through this first Superduo. And then swing through the bottom of it. And now, just like in the previous row where we ended that, we are going to add a seed bead between the two Superduos that go under a Gemduo. So add our 8/0 there. Come through. Another Gemduo. 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 8/0. Okay, now you guys know the drill. All the way around, and we'll meet back. Okay, so we're going to add our last Gemduo between these two seed beads, or Superduos, I'm sorry. Then we're going to go through the seed bead, Superduo, and that Gemduo. And that is the last Gemduo for this ball. And that was 1 tube of Gemduos. And we have 10 left out of that. And 1 broke because the hole was stuck. So again, I know I keep saying it and then I keep screwing up and not checking my own holes. So make sure you check your holes. It's heartbreaking pretty much when you have to back up and rebead because you broke something just simply because you didn't check before you put it on. All right. Anyways, so we're gonna swing it down and come out of the bottom hole of this Gemduo. And now, in between every single one of these Gemduos is going to be a Superduo, an Toho, and a Superduo. Between every single one, all the way around. So I will do the first couple with you. And hold my thread apart, so there we go. And there we go. All right. Next one, Superduo, Toho, Superduo. Go through the next Gemduo and do this row, and we will come back. Okay, so the last set of Superduo seed bead and Superduo. Go through that last Gemduo, and we'll go through the next Superduo set in the following Gemduo. Okay. I'll actually go through the rest, or the next Superduo set. And then swing down to the bottom hole of that Superduo. And now we're going to need our blue beads again and our 11-ohs. 1 tube of the Superduos was not quite enough, so I did have to get some more out. So for one of these projects, you're going to need more than one. It says approximately 8 to 9 grams. So I would say you probably need like 10 grams, maybe even a little more of Superduos for this project. Just so you know, so don't just order 1 tube of Superduos. You're going to need more than that. 1 tube of Gemduos is fine, but Superduos you need more. Okay, so right in here, we're going to mirror pretty much what we did up here. So the blue seed bead goes in between those 2 Superduos. Then we're going to pick up an 11-oh and go through the next Superduo. Toho, 11-oh. Okay, So you know what the pattern is here? Go ahead and do that all the way around and we'll come back. All right, last 11-0. We're gonna go through the Superduo, 8-0, Superduo, and that next 11-0. Now is a good time to try and stretch your beadwork down some and tighten your thread. There we go. All right, so now we're coming out of this 11-0. So we're going to go back into the netting and add 7 11-0s. And go through the next 11-0. That's it for right now. That's all we're doing. 7 11-0s. Go through the next 11-0. There we go. 7 11-0s. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go through. Make sure you're actually going through that bead. Go through the next 11-0. All the way around, guys, and we'll do the next step. All right, so I have the last 7 11-0s on. I'm going to come back over here and go through that first 11-0. Of course it's going to fight me though. Okay. And we're going to go through 4 of these other seed beads that we added so that we come out of the one in the middle. There we go. We should have something that looks like this now. Now we're going to add our 4mm fire polish. So coming through this 11-0, pick up one 4mm. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more 4mm. Now we're not counting the 11-0 that we joined these with that are in between the Superduo. So count the one below that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And guess what? We're going to do that all the way around. So go ahead and add in your 4mm fire polish all the way around. And when we get back to this 11-0 here, we'll do the next row. All right, last 4mm fire polish. Coming out of this 11-0, we're going to go through this one. And give those beads a tug. Okay, here we go. So now, continuing the netting for the next row, we're going to add 5 11-0s. Coming out of that 11-0, we're going to go over the fire polish. Oy vey, I am having a time. Okay. Through that 11-0 at the point. There we go. 5 more 11-0s. Go through the next point. And guess what? All the way around. Okay, last 5 seed beads. Go through this last point. Okay. Now go through the first 3 seed beads. And now we are going to need our 3mm fire polish. So we're coming out of this point bead. Count 1, 2, and 3. One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. And yep, let's do that all the way around. All right, last 3mm through that 11-0. Give that a little tug. Now you remember we started with a full strand of 3mm and a full strand of 4mm fire polish. And for each one we have 16 left. So it doesn't quite take a full tube of Gemduos, and it doesn't quite take a full strand of 3 and 4mm fire polish beads. So you have a little bit left over for your stash. All right. So now we did all this. Now we're going to do our 3 bead net. Same way we did the netting on the previous ones. We're just reducing the number of beads we're using. Yeah. You know what? We're going to do a 5 bead net instead of adding the beads in between this time. So pick up 5 11-ohs, and coming out of this 11-oh, go through the next one. 5 11-ohs, go through that next point 11-oh. 3, 4, 5, and the next point 11-oh. And guess what? Again, let's do this all the way around. Alright, last 5 11-ohs. Go through that peak bead in the middle there. And fold this forward some. Now go up through the first 3. Now I'm going to need more of these silvery 8-ohs. Okay. Now from here, we're going to start going back into peyote. So 1 8-oh coming out of that peak, go to the middle or peak seed bead of the next group. Again. And you do want to pull these snug when you pull them through. More. Go through there. 1 more. You guessed it, everybody. Do this all the way around. And then we'll come back. Alright, last 8-oh on this round. So, go through that peak 11-oh and then step up through the 8-oh. And give her a pull. Okay. Another round of the silver. So, add this between each 8-oh all the way around. Oops. Okay. So now we're going to add the last silver 8-oh. I'm going to go through this one from the previous row. and then step up through the first one we added in this row. Give that a pull. Okay, now we're going to do a row of the blue Ados. So we're coming through here. We're going to go up through the next one in this row. Next. Next. Next one. All right, do that all the way around, guys. Okay, one more blue Ado. I don't like that one. We'll do this one. Through the last silver in the previous row and step up through that first blue one we added in this row. Now we're going to hold these and pull them snug. Okay. Now I think all of these ended up being 15-ohs. And 8-ohs now, of course. There we go. Okay, so now 1 11-oh in between each blue 8-oh. And you're going to want to tug these tight as you go also. Okay, all the way around, guys. Alright, so we're almost done with this row. One more 11-oh. Go through the blue bead. And step up through the 11-oh. Now we do another row with the 11-ohs. So skip the blue bead and add an 11. Skip blue, go through the silver, or the 11-oh, I mean. Skip the blue, go through the next 11-oh. All the way around. Go through that last 11-0 and step up through the first one we added in this row. And we're going to continue adding 11s. In the same manner. Remember, this is just circular peyote. So you want to do this for, well, let's say this row, and then one more after that, and then we'll come back, okay? Okay, so we did those 2 rounds and stepped up. Now, if you, I'm pretty sure with yours also, you're going to have this starting to get tighter and kind of curve up on us a little bit. We don't want that to keep happening. So either you can use 15s from here and keep going around, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an 11 and then go through 2 of these beads. These, of course, are the ones that are sticking out. So add 1, go through 2, add 1, go through 2, one 11, go through the next 2 11-os, 1 11, go through the next 2, 1 11, next 2, 1 11, next 2, 1 11, and the next 2, 1 more 11, and the next 1. There we go. Now I'm going to add these 8-ohs again in between each peak of these. Eight oh through the 11, 8-oh, through that 11, 8-oh, that one. Pulled that one through a little too hard. Let's see if I can get this threaded again. Almost done. Almost seems a shame to have to add more thread at this point, doesn't it? Okay, so we need one more 8/0 on this round. Go through that 11, and we're going to step up through that first 8/0 again. Hold on to my thread so that doesn't fall through. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up an 8/0. I'm going to skip over the first one. Add one there. Pick up another one. Skip one. Go through the next. Pick up one more. Skip this one. Go through the next. I'm going to sew through this. And this one. This one. Really trying to milk this thread here. Okay, this one. Again. This one. Just keep sewing through those 4 8/0s in the middle until you're able to pull them in tight. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. And then that hole and the wire that we had folded over on this end is pretty much invisible. So at this point, of course, it's really, really, really short. I'm going to attempt to make a knot with this. Pull this out of my needle. Where are we? Pull my needle out and tighten that thread down. Oh, that was a miracle. Okay, I'm going to trim that off. Here's this. I'm actually, I think, going to try to tighten this loop a little bit. There we go. And it's really holding that bead cap. And at this point, you can take out the pins that we were holding. There we go. There we go. And there you have it. Here's the hook for the loop. You can see it'll hang like this. It does have a pretty substantial feel to it. Here's the purple one that I did before. So you see all of the different color combinations that you can do with these, and even use rondelles in here instead of Firepolish. That'll work too. Even bicones, I've done some with that. Different bead caps, like I said before, like this is a cone, of course, but as you see now, it actually fits. You don't see a whole lot of that white in there. I've used the filigree, like the brass stamping things that were, they'd be about this round. So, you know, a lot of this stuff here, the peyote and stuff at the top, you wouldn't see. But there's the tops of these two. And here's the sides. And the bottom. Okay. So now you have instructions for how to make these pretty neat beaded ornaments for Christmas or for whatever you want them for. So I want to thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it. I really do. It's really cool to see how much time you guys have been watching me, and it's pretty humbling, actually. Also, give me a like for this video if you liked it. Any suggestions? Tell me what colors you plan on using. Anything else. And if there's anything that you can think of that, you know, you're stumped on, maybe a new project, or even a technique that you're not quite getting, I would love to help you with that. So leave me a comment and I would be more than happy to help you figure that out. Okay? Thanks again, guys. Bye.